What is the best age to claim Social Security? This is one of the most common questions I get asked. And the fact is, a lot of people claim at the earliest possible age, 62. What's driving this is often fear fear that the system won't be there, fear that they won't live long enough to get their money out of the system. But that fear can lead to irreversible mistakes. The facts are that 23% of Americans lock in benefits at 62 as soon as they're eligible. And it's common to take it as soon as you stop working, even if it's a little bit later than 62. Lots of financial advisors may even tell you that this is a good idea. That decision feels smart in the moment. And it can work out for a lot of people, but it's often based on emotion and not careful thought and strategy. That's why today we'll be walking through why claiming early can be a pitfall in some instances and some thoughts about how to think about when it makes sense to claim and when it makes sense to wait. We'll also be breaking down a framework that we use to break people into different categories. Think about which factors about claiming early or later may be more relevant in your situation. I'm Joe Bogan. I'm a certified financial planner, and I have helped dozens of people strategize around their Social Security and pensions over the last 8 years. And here's the truth: claiming early feels safe, but it can reduce a benefit for a spouse, it can eliminate tax planning windows, and it can increase the odds of having a later in life scenario where you're not meeting your needs with your income. Most people make this decision with their gut, but it's one area where strategy is going to beat instinct. So let's break down the common myths that push people into claiming early and what they're missing. A lot of people believe that the Social Security system is going to go bankrupt. And if you look at the national debt, it can be a scary reality. But the truth is, even if the trust funds are running low, and even if they are completely run out, they are funded continuously by ongoing payroll taxes. And if there is any changes to the Social Security system, just like they did in 1980s, these new provisions are likely to affect future retirees decades out into the future, not those that have been saving for their whole career and may already be taking benefits. The next one is I won't live long enough. The reason for this can make sense, actually. You can claim early if you have significant longevity concern. But the fear of not living long enough because you heard about someone and the actual fact of ill health are completely different things. Claiming just because you're afraid you might get hit by a bus in the future may not be sound, especially if you or your spouse has longevity in their family. Lastly, a lot of people think that their spouse isn't going to be affected by them claiming early, but that's not true. The reality is your spouse may be significantly affected if something happens to you and they have to claim a lower benefit because you took early. Now, this whole situation can be quite confusing. So that's why we created this system to help people get personalized feedback on their unique plan. This includes their retirement strategy, including Social Security thoughts and other aspects that may be worthwhile to consider. So I'm going to have you click the link in the description below if you want a completely free 5-minute review. If you fill out the questionnaire, we'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. We discussed some of the common myths, but how do you decide what is right for you? Claiming early could be sensible in some situations, but let's break it down into 3 simple wealth categories to help understand which factors may be most important to consider in your situation. It's not a rule book, and depending on your lifestyle costs, there may be some blurred lines between categories. But I've laid these out in descriptions so that you'll have a strong starting point to understand some of the different factors at play and what the various trade-offs might be that may apply to your situation. The first category is less than about 750,000. This is basically people that are trending to spend their retirement savings throughout their retirement and spend it down close to zero. Longevity in these situations is the primary factor. And if you're single with poor health or your spouse and you both have poor health, it may make sense to claim early. But the reality is most people are going to have a greater risk of longevity. And so it may be actually a smarter move if you have less money to delay Social Security and spend your portfolio down sooner, even though that may be counterintuitive. The second category is 750 to 2 million. This is a situation where you might not spend all of your portfolio and there may be significant tax planning opportunities. Your income is not so high that you're going to be just totally screwed from taxes, and your income's not so low that you're going to probably run out of money. So this is where we find a unique place where there could be significant tax planning opportunities. The American College of Financial Planning calls it the double tax torpedo, in which case if you take Social Security early, you may, and try and do tax strategies at the same time, it may cause double taxes on some of those strategies, eliminating the opportunities for you. So deferring later could make sense because it will open up opportunities for you to be more efficient from a tax standpoint over the lifetime of your retirement plan. The last category I would say is around 2 million plus. At this point, it may be that your income and your wealth picture makes some of the tax planning opportunities around Social Security less significant because you may be just being taxed a lot anyways. But the investment picture starts to become really significant here. If the markets are down, you might take Social Security a little sooner to help preserve your portfolio and delaying having to sell your investments. Tax impact could still play a point, and estate planning may be even more significant for people in this category because they're probably confident that their wealth is going to outlive them and they want to have more control and direction over where that ends up. Now, of course, there's going to be some edge cases if you're divorced, if you're surviving spouse, if you're part of an age gap couple. There are more layers of planning here than what we've just described. And so that's why I always say you only get one shot at this retirement thing, and you've worked too hard to guess your way through it. So you want to make a plan that matches your real life scenario and takes consideration of all the factors. And that's why we have the tool to click through in the description where we can give you personalized feedback and some thoughts to consider on your current retirement trajectory and planning. You only get one shot at retirement, so don't let fear steal your future. Plan in a smart way, and you will thank yourself later.